When people, there's that old saying that you probably everyone heard growing up, but words hurt. Sometimes these sayings
Yes.
are there for a reason, but we don't quite understand how real that phrase is. Words hurt is a very real thing. And so the same is true, that words can heal. And when you are using language that is providing the brain and the body and the cells and the energy of your being to um, sound and resound in a frequency that's healthy, it is a huge, huge upgrade. It's a huge step up. It's a huge opportunity for your system to perform in its best way. It's like when you go to a symphony and it's all coming together, and you're sitting in the audience and you're just moved. The same thing happens in the body when you provide it with the right ingredients and the right sound.
Welcome. This is Sally Page, and I'm here today with my special guest, Brian Mariani. Brian is a really fun person because he works with sound in the same way I do, as far as the underlying principle, but he produces something that's very unique and very different and very powerful. He is the founder of a company called Know, Know, Shift Own. He's launching an amazing sound product this year, and it is about a cutting edge multimedia experience with sound, with sensory input, with visual input, and breath. So I can't wait to see what he does. I'm really excited about it, and I totally love what he's doing. And you know what? The world of sound and multi-sensory input needs variety. So this is going to be such a fun day. Thank you so
I
much for joining
agree.
me today.
Thank you, Sally. It's an honor to be playing in this sandbox with you. And I think the more of us that get to come together and really um, bring these visions to life, the better. Not every sound, not every experience, not every platform resonates, and that's totally okay. It's I think it's about us all just doing our best. And ultimately I think it's these types of relationships and collaborations that help us all rise better, rise higher together. Because there's things that we learn about each other, and it's motivating to really give the world our best stuff. So I'm excited to be here.
I agree completely. I also believe that with sound, I know you don't want to hear the same type of sound all the time. I don't. There might be days where I love what I'm doing, and there are days where I just like, not today. I want something else. So the variety is essential. And the more frequencies that are positive and uplifting and nurturing for people, the more people can flourish in life and be more vibrant and be more uh, healthy. Their mindset up levels, their consciousness expands when you're working at it with it like we are. So I'm really excited about that. And honestly, I wouldn't want to have to listen to the same sound or the same song all the time. So I
Well, and I
think it's
think,
cool.
one of the ways that I've really um, that really excites me about sound, and it's something that I've really only understood the past few years, is that sound should really be looked at and taken in the same way that we do food and our diet and our like working out. Everyone focuses on, what should I drink, what should I eat, when should I sleep, what should I do for a workout, and sound is just as important. And it's accessible. People have created amazing tools, amazing sounds, amazing frequencies that can be used just like drinking a green juice is, maybe good for your immune system or healthy. It provides nutrients. You can press play on a piece of sound that does just as important work, that gets your cells and your body ringing at a frequency that's really really healthy. So that's what really excites me is the opportunity you and I have to, maybe educate a few more people about how important sound is, and how it should be a very fun and enjoyable addition to your diet, food and exercise and sleep. It can really really up level all the other things that you're doing.
It's very true. Um, I had a near death experience with bacterial meningitis where I was in a coma for 6 days on life support, and no one thought I would live. And just before they unplugged life support, I woke up. So I recovered from that. After I got out of the hospital, I was still like all my sensory systems were raw. Just sound, too much sound, especially, really bothered me. So, what I did for quite some time after this is I would just lay in bed and I would put like earphones on and just listen to meditations. I couldn't stand what I would now, what most people even would call soothing music, but there were certain meditations that allowed me to just really sink in and relax into those healing sounds. And what I didn't understand then that I now know is that sound, it shifts the patterns of every cell in your body, including your brain, including every single cell, even the DNA. It's going in and it's making changes. So when you pour those frequencies of healing and love and upliftment into your brain, you're doing good things. And a brain is like garbage in, garbage out, good things in, good things out. So I think that really helped me heal. And what I know now, as someone who's been working with sound in my healing work for so many years, is that it literally will take a discordant pattern in your cell and bring it back into harmony. And the right sounds, the right frequencies will even create a sacred geometry within the cells of your body so that disorganization disruption, such as cancer, such as disease, such as whatever is going on that's creating imbalance, can be shifted. And the more you listen, the more you support the shift, the deeper it goes. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, and I just love this topic. I totally, as they say, geek out on it. I in my own practice of doing my best to give my body and mind and spirit good things every day so that I can run optimally. Frequency and sound is a huge part of that, and people sometimes they don't correlate sound to language, or frequency sound to language, and that's what language is. They just are very defined frequencies and sounds, and so the words that we're hearing on a daily basis really matter. They have energy to them, and that energy can be very disruptive. I think most people can relate to a conversation that they've had that really felt icky, that was hurtful, that was even harmful. And it's because of the energy of that person, but it's also because of the energy of the words. And when people, there's that old saying that you probably everyone heard growing up, but words hurt. Sometimes these sayings
Yes,
are there for a reason, but we don't quite understand how real that phrase is. Words hurt is a very real thing. And so the same is true, that words can heal. And when you are using language that is providing the brain and the body and the cells and the energy of your being to um, sound and resound in a frequency that's healthy, it is a huge, huge upgrade. It's a huge step up. It's a huge opportunity for your system to perform in its best way. It's like when you go to a symphony and it's all coming together, and it's you're sitting in the audience and you're just moved. The same thing happens in the body when you provide it with the right ingredients and the right sound.
I agree 100%. And it's not even just the body, and it's not even just the mindset. It's a big thing for your emotions, because think of a song that reminds you of like someone you loved, or a really powerful experience in your life. If you hear that sound, it takes you back. Like if you hear the Star Wars music, it takes you back. If you hear the Darth Vader music, it takes you to that heavy sound. So sound is a really powerful thing for us. And when we can use it to our advantage to make our lives better, to make our health better, to uplift us when we're feeling down, that can be huge. And you can even use it to reset your energy. I know over the weekend, I was really tired and I wanted to just bake something in the kitchen. So I put on my favorite music, and I just ignored everything else and listened to that sound and did my baking. I felt so much better. It just totally reset my energy. And it can do that if you listen to the right music. So it can do powerful things that are tangible and real, that you can feel and definitely notice the difference on many levels. So that's so cool. Um, yeah, and then there's also noises that you don't want to be around that can make you cringe. Just like there's toxic things in the world, there's toxic noise, but there's also healing, wonderful noise. And it's important to know what nurtures you, and you need different things at different times.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, it's I would challenge anyone to if there's someone in your world that has an annoying voice or some sound or word that you just like you cringe when you hear it, record that sound and put your earphones on, and as many times during that day, put that sound put that sound on, press play. I can guarantee you it's not going to be a good day. It's
That's true.
just gonna it's not going to go well. And you know, sometimes you have to kind of go through the negative. Sometimes you have to experience the pain to really get an understanding for what's possible on the other side. And what's possible on the other side of that is tones, frequency, sounds, language that is, to your word, uplifting, that puts you in a state of peace, happiness, joy. um, and it's what's really exciting is that we've known these things since the beginning of time, however you define that. We've known these things. It's why there's been ceremony that has always had sound. It's why, you know, special occasions always have sound and music and things of that nature. And what we're understanding now as the scientific community up levels every single day, we are finding very, very innovative ways to actually measure sound and frequency. And so it's no longer just, well, my grandma swears by this song. It just makes her feel like she's in a good mood. It's like we can actually measure where someone is in their state, and then we can have them listen to a sound or a song or a frequency, and then we can measure where they are afterwards. And it's right there. It's really exciting what's possible today. We're at a very exciting crossroads of fundamental truths and science validating many of
I
those things.
Yeah, it's so cool because it started when it was first coming when I first started sound work. There was Dr. Emoto's work with water. Well, the same thing applies to the cells of your body. If the word love lifts the vibration of body, hearing loving sounds lifts your vibration as well. And then there's the measurements of cymatics, where they literally study the patterns of disease and use certain frequencies to bring harmony back to those cells. And now they are doing highly targeted medicine where they're literally targeting parts of the brain with sound to deal with, you know, tumors in the brain or different things in the brain. So it's really a powerful tool that I think we're only seeing the beginning of right now. I feel like it's going to really expand over the next few years.
I agree. Fundamentally, I agree. It's so exciting to be here right now because truly what you just shared is so big. I mean, it's so big. I couldn't possibly express the language around how big the truth is that unless something goes really, really, really wrong, we are moving into a time in history where we will be taking a far more holistic approach to everything because there's simply no reason for someone to go into a surgery knowing all of the things that we know and not have sound healing as a part of that process. It just doesn't, there's no reason. There's no good reason not to do it. And there's every reason to have it be a part of every surgery that ever happens.
I agree. And maybe it's waiting for people like us to make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, for
I hope,
sure. I
I
mean,
hope
it's,
so. I hope we can make something like that happen. Maybe that's a collaboration we'll do together in the future. Who knows?
well, Sally, I've been very lucky to be, um, my dad is a pioneer in the realm of functional medicine and nutrition, and so these types of ideas have been present in my life from the beginning. And I've also been very aware of how unique that was and still is. I mean, these things are getting more popular, but one of the things that I think gives you and I a lot of faith, look at what's happened to acupuncture in our lifetime. These types of things are being acknowledged by insurance companies now. They're even being brought into hospitals, not on a wide scale, but it's happening. And so um, there's an acceleration of these truths and these modalities and these opportunities to be utilized on a far greater scale, and it's really exciting.
I agree. And I also believe that the more integrated we become, the better it will be for everyone because there's so many things that are non-invasive that can help with healthcare that are ignored largely because of the system. It's not set up for, really taking in new modalities. But I think that will change over time. And I hope it won't be long because making sound is easy to make accessible, as you've said, but it's also very powerful and it's also very positive in the results. So why not? Why not do something that's simple, cost effective, accessible to everyone almost on the planet and effective? I'm I'm a big believer in if it's effective and non-invasive, you need to at least know about it. So it
Yeah,
could be
it's
a fabulous choice for many people who are struggling and need some answers right now. So I know you're working on some really special things. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the word matching and emotion matching that you were sharing with me earlier?
yeah, I'd be happy to. So people are, I loved what you were saying just before about effectiveness. Effectiveness to me is such a key source to winning. It's so
Yes.
so important. And so for so many people, they're they're very focused on, like their mindset is, if I could get this one thing, my life would be better. Like if I could just have a little more love or a little more connection or a little more peace, or if I could sleep better, or and a million other things. And as as our understanding of sound is evolving, we're actually able to validate and verify through the most cutting edge science. We can actually determine the frequencies of, let's say, the word love. And so we can actually curate a frequency that's not saying love, love, love. You might not actually even totally be aware of the frequency, but your cells are literally ringing in the frequency of that word. And so, to your point earlier about medicine, we are moving into an age of healthcare. This is, I think you and I are on the belief system, this is where we're going. And there may be people that try to stop it, but I'm not really worried about that, because it's just too important. We're moving into this age of the ability uh, for for most people to have access to these types of tools. Now, it doesn't mean that we're no longer going to need emergency rooms or surgeries or those types of systems that are very, very, very important. But it also allows for an entire new system available to everyone that they can tap into before the surgery and maybe before the emergency, that can be very, very helpful.
Yes, even if the body was just given the message of love during the surgery and messages to reduce the shock and the trauma of the surgery, that would be so helpful in accelerating healing. And
Huge.
yeah, I would love to see that happen. Um, and
Yeah, I mean, that particular thing just totally lights me up, because there there's just such an opportunity for very real data to to go in. Well, this is how surgeries have gone for the last 10 years, and now we've implemented this one thing. you know Hospitals could simply just have a, a thing that emits frequency in the room and just see the feedback from the surgeon, the doctor, the nurses, the whole staff, and the person, and the results will be dramatic. It'll be impossible to ignore.
I agree. Even if you're just playing really positive music into the surgical room, so the surgery team can be energized and alert and, you know, have their brains very activated for the surgery. I think even that would just be a really positive support for the whole surgical system and the team because it's hard work. Sometimes they're standing on their feet for more than 6 hours. I mean, it can be grueling work and they need whatever support they can get to do their job well.
And there's that extreme case, right? And then I think there's the piece that you and I are very aligned with, which is, how do we impact everyday people in everyday life?
Yeah.
What can we put into their hand, onto their computer, in their phone, on their computer? What can we put in their world that can do that on an everyday basis? And just the thought of more people moving through their life, even at a slightly more aligned frequency, it's like, I mean, that's a huge part of the reason why, I'm so grateful to be where I am today, to be involved in projects, to be connecting with people like you, because it really is the more of us having these conversations, the more of us really digging into innovation and trying and figuring out how do we get these types of things out to the most amount of people, into the most amount of homes, you know, really, eventually into the, again, the kind of education system that is, so that it becomes just a part of how we operate. And again, it's even the slightest degree of frequency in a positive direction can help what would have been an argument at work maybe not go down a difficult way, because two people are meeting and their frequencies are elevated. And when a frequency is elevated, there's a consciousness that becomes available that might not be there if you're not operating that way. And I know that even way more about this than I do, but it's exciting.
I 100% agree with everything you just said. And I also have to say, being a heart math person, as a independent coach and a certified heart math trainer, I know that there are CDs from heart math that I gave when my son was in grade school. I gave to the teachers so they could play them during school, help them focus more. And that was good. But then I got to come into the art class at some point with my singing bowls and play for the kids during art. And the teacher, I didn't know this, but the teacher started telling the other teachers around her that the kids were focused better. There were less arguments. They were easier to control. They were happier. Just a better day for the rest of the day in the classroom that was easy and happy for everyone. Soon I was playing in other classrooms because the teachers were noticing the difference in the students. And I had little kids come up to me afterwards and they'd say, "Mrs. Page, that sound touched my soul." And when we can touch the heart, the field of the heart, the electromagnetic field of the heart is measurably 5,000 times larger than the electromagnetic field of the brain. So when we make frequencies like love that touch the heart, it's a game changer. And the heart is where your magic is. That is the superpower of humanity. When we can get into the heart of love and treat each other heart to heart, it makes such a difference.
Yeah, and again, Sally, there's so much data on people sharing, whether it be on their deathbed or at some point in their life when they're asked, "What's the best moment in your life?" Across the board, it's always when they were able to give something that really helped someone. Or you hear thousands and thousands of these stories. It's not the car that you bought. It's none of those things. It's that you did something for someone else that mattered, that supported, that was kind.
Yes.
And again, what's really exciting is we have the technology, and the technology is getting better every day to measure what that is.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what an exciting time. So, I know you have a launch coming up. Would you like to tell
Yes.
people a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So we are in our final stages of creating what we believe is a highly, highly accessible, multi-sensorial experience that will shift and move people into a better state. And we're we're so grateful. We're very, very excited. And this is going to be available in 2023. So it's right around the corner. It's just the beginning of the year. We don't have an exact date, but this year people will be able to jump into this experience, and I can't wait.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I will tell the listeners that I do have something out and available now. It's a free thing they can go to at igniteyoursacredlight.com, and they can get access to mine. And I hope that you will give us an update when yours is released so that we can share your information as well to these listeners so that they can get some variety going, because variety is the spice of life. We've got to have
That's right.
different things at different times for different purposes. So, and I can't wait
And I
to
will say, Sally,
do.
you very generously gave that to me, and I listened, and I've listened many times, and I encourage everyone out there to go listen. It You will absolutely recognize a difference, and yeah,
Thank you, Brian. I hope we get to do something again soon.
we
And
will.
I'm so grateful to have you on this podcast today. Many blessings to you.
Thank you. It was an honor.